as females in a very masculine world, we often overexert our own masculine to keep up with the rest of society. Welcome back to the Find You podcast. In today's episode, I'm going to be having just a pretty chill chat. So I went out for dinner with my girlfriends last night and caught up with them. And there was a common theme between us all and what we were experiencing in our lives at the moment. And so I just kind of wanted to bring that forth in the podcast and share with the world a little bit. Essentially, the first thing that we noticed was that everyone was really somewhat resistant to social interactions, very much so in the space where they wanted to protect their peace and their own inner world. And I really wanted to bring that forth to let everyone know that if you are starting to socialize, especially coming out of lockdown, if you are here in Australia, and you're definitely not alone in feeling that you want to protect your space and your peace, and social interactions are a bit more overwhelming than they used to be. And I want you to just know that is so normal. I also want to note that this is the time more than ever to step outside that comfort zone, push past your little bubble, and really embrace people and share your love, because everyone is feeling like that. Well, not everyone. I'm sure there's plenty of extroverts out there who are just so excited to be a part of the world again. But for a lot of those people that are introverted or ambiverted, so the in-between of extroverted and introverted, for those people, you have to push past your comfort zone. And I know that is super hard to do. And this is in no means a way of saying go back to any toxic friendships, relationships, or anyone who is not good for your health or well-being, but to step forward and share out the love that you have, because we desperately need it right now. And we are all in the same boat in feeling that resistance to socializing again. So that was the first thing that I just wanted to bring forth to everyone. And the second part, essentially we were talking about feeling desired or wanting to feel desired. So a brief backstory. Majority of us are in long-term relationships, and we were talking about how you hit certain walls in the relationship cycle where you begin to lack this feeling of, I brought it back to feeling desired. That's where I brought it back to, feeling desired. And particularly we're talking heterosexual relationships, so just talking about that feeling and that want to be desired. And when I talk about being desired, I mean that spark when you first begin a relationship of, oh my God, what's going to happen? Oh, he touched my leg. Oh my God. That whole initial gooiness of excitement. As we're discussing it, I really did bring it back to feeling desired. And there was this common theme of our partners not making us feel desirable. And as I was driving home, I really reflected on that conversation. And if we look at it from the mirror theory perspective, if you don't know the mirror theory, I will give you the definition in just a moment. But if we're looking at it from the mirror theory perspective, essentially we should be looking at, how do we make ourselves feel desirable? How do we desire ourselves? How do we make ourselves feel good? How do we make ourselves feel sexy and loved and cared for? So if I reflect on my internal world and my relationship, I look at it and I realize that there are certainly parts of myself that I don't care for. And there's parts of me that disregards that side of wanting to be desirable and sexy and very feminine, I suppose, in the sense of the feminine and masculine energies. When I speak on feminine and masculine energies, this is talking from energetic standpoint. We all have feminine and masculine energies in us. If you look towards the yin and the yang, earth and sun, these are all feminine and masculine energies. So when we're talking masculine, we're talking very action-packed, I want to say powerful, but very strong, very go-getter. When we talk feminine, we're talking about surrender and allowing and flowing and being. And as females in a very masculine world, we often overexert our own masculine to keep up with the rest of society. Now, when we look at that, it's not very balanced within us. We are overexerting our masculine to keep up with a masculine run society where it is all about action, working hard. You must work hard, otherwise you don't receive payment. And people just genuinely overexerting themselves to the point where they are burnt out. And this is what I talk about with flowing with our cycles. Our cycles of going very action-packed, we've got lots of energy, to really low down where we need to rest and take our time with things. If we look to the male half of the human race, they only work on the circadian rhythm, as I have said many a times. So they can easily run in this very masculine driven world, whereas us as females running off the circadian and infradian rhythm and exerting ourselves far beyond our limits and what our body can stand. Thus, we talk about really struggling to keep up and becoming burnt out a lot quicker than males. Coming back to the mirror theory. So Google's definition of the mirror theory. Baal Shem Tov explained this with the mirror theory. He taught that when we look at others, we are looking at a mirror. When we observe and analyze the behavior of other people, we actually discover ourselves in them. The profile we create for others is shaped by our own personality. This is digging deep into our perspective shapes our reality, and our perspective also shapes how we define people and criticize them or praise them. So our own personal conditioning, thoughts, emotions, this is getting really deep. But basically, it really creates our version of people in our own minds. Let me just state this right now. We're never going to know the real truth of people because there is no way for us to look from a perspective of completely unbiased, completely unconditioned standpoint. It's just not possible. So our perspective is always going to define people and put them in a box, which is annoying. But there is no way for us to look at consciousness. So now that we understand what the mirror theory is, when we look at other people and we reflect upon how they make us feel, we need to question, how do we make ourselves feel first? Because I'm actually a really big believer in when our internal world is where we want it to be and is peaceful, is loving, is glowing, and is vibrant, then our external world will just naturally shift and change and reflect exactly what our internal world is like. That's why I am in the work of supporting people in creating an internal world that can then overflow and transform the external world. So as I was saying about having this conversation with my girlfriends and realized, but how are we making ourselves feel desirable? How do we make ourselves feel amazing and beautiful? How often do we do that for ourselves? Are we romanticizing ourselves? Because if we look at it from the standpoint of the mirror theory, technically, that means we're lacking that desirability and that feeling of being desirable in ourselves. Whatever your story is, we're not feeling how we want to be feeling at the end of the day. In saying that, this is where we have to reflect and then take action. So now that I realize that I have not been making myself feel very desirable or sexy, or, life's just not giving me that spark that I'm looking for. That means I have to amp up my game, romanticize my life like no tomorrow, and make it as beautiful and sensual and desirable as possible. Because if you're seeking to be wanted and desirable and sexy or free or whatever it is, you need to create that space internally first. Make yourself feel desirable. put that extra nice dress on, put that bit of makeup on, make yourself feel really cute, because the more that we make ourselves feel desirable and feel like we are the baddest babes out here, I was going to say bitches. I thought I'd make it PG, but this isn't really for kids anyway. But the more we can make ourselves feel like the badass, sexy babes that we are, the more our external world will reflect that, and people are going to notice and be more attracted in. For those of you who don't know, I'm also a believer in law of attraction, like attracts like, manifestation, etc., etc. So the more our internal world is feeling super bomb, super amazing, the better our external world will be. And actually, in saying that, the better our internal world is, the more our perspective of the world is better. The more in awe of the world we are, the more we are in love with life, the more we find this space and this world to be absolutely freaking incredible. So we have to start by feeling amazing on the inside first and validating ourselves, because as much as I used to be all for pointing the finger and blaming the world, but unfortunately it all starts with us, and it all starts with our internal world. Okay, my camera just died, but as I was saying, the more our internal world is at peace, is loving, is excited and fulfilled, the more our perspective, the way we think and feel is going to change, which will also change our external world. And once again, the more we know that we are worthy, the more that we feel amazing on the inside coming out, the more we will attract in, and the more our life will become better, because we won't accept those things that are average or, below the standard that you expect. And that's what we should expect, because I am actually here to chaotically say to only do what feels good for you. We only have one life. So do everything that feels amazing and excites you and brings you so much pleasure and joy, because we are divine beings and we are not meant to just suffer along in this lifetime. We are here to learn and grow and enjoy, because if we come back to it, that's all we were meant to do. If we take away all the conditioning and all the other things, what's left? We are just here to enjoy, live amongst the wildlife. This is all the stuff that we were meant to do. And we live in this, once again, masculine society that runs the show and says we have to bust our asses just to get somewhere and be valued in this life. I know I'm triggering people right now. I'm just going to end it there because I don't know when you're listening to this. I don't want you to have a mental breakdown. Know that you are divine. Everything is changeable. There is nothing that is permanent. And change your internal world. Love yourself, care for yourself, feel amazing on the inside so that your outside can reflect that too. I hope you enjoyed this really cool bonus session that just randomly came up. And I'm going to thank my beautiful friends for inspiring me to make this podcast episode. And yeah, I'd love to know your thoughts. So leave any comments below, your thoughts, perspectives. I'm here to be a hypocrite too. So if I've said something that you're like, Franeiss, you've definitely done that before. Yep, that's fine. I'm a growing human and I'm learning and expanding just like you guys. So let me know if you relate. Leave any comments below, any likes, subscribe. All this stuff really does help content creators out, and especially as a growing content creator. And I would love your support along the way. So I'm sending you my love. Let's connect and interact. You can find me via Instagram and kept posted about what's going on with my life and what I'm creating, because I have a lot of projects in the works. And I cannot wait to release them all to the world and just support people in becoming their freaking most amazing, fearless, vibrant version of them, because, yeah, I'm not even going to go there. You know my thoughts. I don't know if any of that made sense. I'm just going to throw it out there that I'm about to start my cycle any second now. And so my brain is quite foggy and all over the place, but I really just wanted to put this podcast episode out whilst it was fresh in my brain and I had all the juices flowing. So I hope it made sense. Let me know in the comments below if that didn't make sense or did, or if you relate. Just drop the comments down below. I'd love to interact and know your opinion. But hope you guys have a beautiful week, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.